just a quick review of the Fanwer shoulder pulley. This is an over-the-door shoulder pulley system. Basically, it's designed to increase your range of motion of your shoulder joint. Particularly if you have problems with one shoulder. The basis of this is you can use your good shoulder to help out your bad shoulder. Like it says, if you can't raise this arm up, okay, you got this pulley system and you pull down on this and this will help raise it up. That's called active assisted range of motion. So that's really what shoulder pulleys are all about. Active assisted range of motion, trying to get more motion into your shoulder joint. This is a really good set. A couple things about it. It's got soft foam handles, which I really like. A lot of them have wood, which isn't quite as comfortable. I think these are, you'll be able to hold on to a lot better with that. And also the way it attaches to the door I really like. A lot of them use a metal bracket, and I don't know, I put that metal bracket on there and it's going to scratch the door and the paint. If you're not worried about it, then you're not worried about it. But to me, you just have this kind of, it's a soft material, goes in between the door frame, you close the door, it's got this big thing on the other end so it can't come through. A lot less stressful on the door and the paint so you don't damage your door, trying to get your shoulder back in shape. So this is a really good set, I think. Basically, remember, it's basically to get range of motion back. To get more flexibility in your shoulder. That's really what you want to use this for. Now, if you have trouble with like your rotator cuff or any other shoulder problem, strengthening your rotator cuff will go a long way in solving a lot of shoulder problems, whether it be things like shoulder arthritis, acromioclavicular arthritis, you have tendonitis, and let me tell you why. Or if you torn your rotator cuff. The shoulder is a shallow ball and socket joint, okay? And it depends heavily on its muscles to really stabilize it. It's not like your hip joint. It's a ball and socket joint. But if you ever look at a picture of the hip joint, it's really a deep ball and socket joint. So it doesn't need as many muscles to stabilize the joint. Rotator cuff the shoulder joint's totally different. You really need a lot of muscular support to keep that thing in place. It depends heavily on that. And hey, guess what group of muscles keeps your shoulder joint in place? Your rotator cuff. So if you strengthen your rotator cuff and you have good stability in that joint, things don't get irritated. Even if you have arthritis in the joint, you're not going to your joint just isn't going to have that excessive motion, and so you're not going to have as much pain because things are stable, not moving around more than they should. Same thing with tendonitis or bursitis, has the same effect. This is a good book, whether it's for seniors. I don't know what that's about. I mean, you could be an Olympic athlete and use this program. It's really well thought out. I think it's written by a physical therapist. Basically starts out by showing you all about the rotator cuff, what it is, answers you need to know, what are the symptoms of a rotator cuff tear. Here again, you can use this just for the exercises, or if you have a tear, this will answer just about everything you wanted to know. Where does it tear at? Are there different kinds of tears? I have a rotator cuff tear and I'm in a lot of pain. I need surgery, right? Well, not necessarily, I'll tell you, because it answers that question by looking at all the studies where they take people with, let's say take 100 people with a rotator cuff tear. They measure the size of the tear, and then they run a pain scale, like a visual analog scale, and they say, hey, how bad are these people hurting? So then you have 100 people, how big their tear is and how bad they're hurting. What they're finding out is there's actually a lot of people walking around with asymptomatic rotator cuff tears. In other words, you can have a big tear in your rotator cuff and have no pain. I mean, this is well documented in the literature, and here's the studies that show that. So basically, you could have pain, in your shoulder. You go to the doctor, they do an MRI. Oh, I have a rotator cuff tear. They found a tear. Oh, we need to fix that. Well, not necessarily, because you could have an asymptomatic tear. It could be something else giving you your pain. And so you go through the rotator cuff repair, and really that wasn't the problem to begin with. So no, that's not true. What will happen if I just leave my rotator cuff tear alone? Here again, this is a very evidence-based book. They look at studies where they take people that for some reason or another have torn their rotator cuff tear and they don't do anything about it, and they follow them for 5 or 10 years, and they see, what happens to it. Does it get better, same, worse? How does exercise compare to surgery when it comes to treating my torn rotator cuff? Only way you can really answer that question scientifically is looking at the randomized controlled trials. That's the highest form of proof in medicine that a treatment is actually effective. So that's why they take, say, 100 people that have torn their rotator cuff, 50 they randomly assign to surgery, the other 50 they randomly assign to a good exercise program. And then you follow them over time. There's some really good long-term follow-up studies. They follow them 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years. Some of these follow-up studies go on for years. And so let's say at 2 years out, who did better? The people that got their rotator cuff repaired or the ones that did a good exercise program? Make a long story short, you basically end up at the same place. So has a good exercise program. There's 3 different levels, a beginning, intermediate, and advanced. Really good for rotator cuff strengthening, even if you don't have a specific tear or if you just want to avoid one. Good resources. But yeah, like I say, if you have a really stiff shoulder, frozen shoulder, this is a really good resource. So check it out.